What I got here is some pork, and I'm a picky eater, so I like to rinse off my raw meat. And this particular piece doesn't have much fat, so I'm going to be adding in some fat from something else I trimmed, actually beef fat from the hamburgers I made in a previous video. And also, while I'm cutting this into pieces to grind, I'm trimming off some of the garbage that's on here. That's not going to grind up well. The spice mix that I'm going to be putting in here is predominantly Montreal steak spice, but there are some other things as well, including paprika, and mostly what paprika does is it improves the color. Sorry I don't have exact amounts for this because I really didn't measure it. Whenever I make sausages, I just guess based on the weight of the piece of meat that I have. I'm going to mix those spices in with the meat, and then I'm actually going to put it in the fridge overnight, covered, to let those spices sink into the meat. And I'll do the grinding tomorrow. After grinding, you need to do a little bit of kneading to mix this through. And this meat is very cold and my fingers are freezing. Now, while all that was happening, I had the 3D printer running in the background, making the sausage stuffer that I designed. And you can see the parts coming through here. I'm printing this with ABS plastic. And I should point out that even though I'm showing it here printing on with the rest of the parts, it's a better idea to print the big chamber on its own, centered right in the middle of the build plate. That way, if it messes up, you're not going to be losing all the other parts. What I have here is very much a prototype, and the print files that are in the video description are a much more refined version. But in any case, it's a good idea to screw the brackets down to a piece of plywood, or in my case, I'm using MDF, and that way it's easy to clamp it down to your work surface. Now, the way this goes together is it slips into those brackets that are screwed to the MDF. The piston goes in the end, and you stand the chamber up and stuff it full of meat. And then you screw on the end with the horn. In this instance, I have a horn that was part of a set that I ordered, but that can be 3D printed as well, as you can see in the corner of the screen. Once it's filled, it goes back in the brackets, the end screws on, and then I can put the handle crank on and start making the sausage. I've got the casing and I'm slipping that onto the horn. And once I get it all on, I'll squeeze some meat through and then knot the end. And this is actually my first time doing this type of sausage. I've made sausage before, but never with it cased. So I'm a virgin. I'm a sausage virgin. And I've got to say that this works better than I thought it would, actually. Eventually, I emptied that chamber and I had to stop. And because I had to take the chamber off again to fill it up again, I stopped that line of sausage right there by tying a knot with a piece of string. And just like before, I could get it filled up, put the end on, and start pumping again. This time I've run out of casing, so I'll tie that in there and I'll put on a new piece of casing and start again. And of course, these should be twisted into links. And I know some people say that there's too much air in here, that I didn't stuff it tight enough, that there are too many air pockets. But you know what? They cooked fine and they tasted perfect. But before I cooked them, I put them on a rack and left them sitting in my fridge overnight, uncovered, and that actually shrunk the casing up a little bit and got rid of some of that air. The next day, I fired up my grill and I cooked a couple, and I don't think I need to talk anymore now. You can see how these turned out.